All right, in 3, 2. Well, welcome back to Toyota Sports Talk. It's been a little while, but great to catch up with NBA Hall of Famer, Basketball Hall of Famer Adrien Dantley, Montgomery County resident, obviously still very involved in basketball and referees and watches basketball. So I want to get his perspective on this big Wizards trade. AD, good to see you. Trey Young coming to DC. What do you think, my guy?
Well, I think it's pretty interesting trade. I'm sure the fans here would like seeing a superstar type of player in Trey Young. But I think when Trey Young get here, I don't think the fans will see the real Trey Young. He's been struggling a little bit with the injury. He's not shooting the ball well. A couple games that I've seen him play, he's not the Trey Young that I saw, early in his career. And maybe that has something to do with the injury. So they're gonna have to probably gonna take a while for him to get up to his standards of play. Because right now, he's not the Trey Young that I'm used to seeing.
Do you think his best days are behind him, AD?
I don't know. It's a pretty interesting trade. I'm not a person to get into the analytics, but if you look at the analytics, it seemed like defensively they were worse when he was on the court. Washington Wizards, they ranked number 28th, 29th in defense. So you bring another guy in who's not healthy, it should be interesting. But I think he will help the young guys on the team, being a veteran, when he gets to his standard of play.
Peak Trey Young, maybe before injuries. What did you appreciate about his game, AD?
Well, he's a guy that he's going to give you 25 points a game, not afraid to take the tough shot, not afraid to take the clutch shot. I mean, his previous 4 or 5 years, he was a great player. I just hope that, when he gets in shape, I don't think he's in shape. I don't think he's at playing the way that he's used to playing, maybe because of injury. But I think it'd be good for the fans. I mean, I usually don't go that many Wizards fans. By him getting traded there, I think I'll come just to see him play.
Yeah, and to your point, because this fan base has been needing some re-energized, right?
Some
Some juice, right? It's
yeah.
been several years. What can a Trey Young maybe do for the marquee or the billboard? Build around Trey Young, have his photo out there, get the fans excited, buy some tickets.
Well, I usually listen to the radio station, and after listening to the radio this morning, everybody's all pumped up for Trey Young and all that. So I think it'd be good for the fan base. The fans are always going to come to the games. Now they got a guy who can get after it, score, and I'm sure the fans will like that. But I think it's good for the franchise. It's just a matter of him getting used to the guys he's playing with. It's going to be they had to get used to playing with him because he's going to have the ball in his hand a lot too. So it's going to be completely different.
Now, reason why I wanted you on here, because you in your career were traded during the season. So obviously Trey Young traded during the middle of the season. What is the challenge there, AD, of going from one team and integrating yourself with another team midway through a year?
Well, it's going to be very tough. It depends on how the team is doing. They're not doing real well, but I know when I got traded, it was tough. You got to get used to the guys. You got to get used to the atmosphere. And every time I got traded, it always took me some time to play the way that I used to play on the previous team. So he just got to get used to the guys on the team, and they had to get used to him and coaching staff. But no player likes to get traded. I mean, no player likes to get traded because you got to get used to other people that you're playing with.
And there's so many different layers other than just basketball, right? I mean, there's a life aspect too that you kind of have to figure out, right?
Well, one thing about Washington, I don't know if it's good for players to come here because you won't get bored here. You won't get bored here. So you got to really concentrate on basketball and be ready to play every night because, if you look at all the basketball players or football players that come here to Washington, they love the social life. They love, their life off the basketball court. So you got to concentrate on that and be ready to play when he does play.
So, AD, this Wizards team's very young. They got some young pieces: Koulibaly, Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr. how can those younger players maybe benefit or get impacted positively with a Trey Young on the basketball court?
Well, they when they go out on the court, they know they have a guy who can get it done, who can score. They just got to get used to his style of play, and it'll be interesting. I'll be watching the games. It'll be interesting. That's all I have to say.
What do you think about kind of the Wizards right now with some of the younger players? What have you seen from this young core a little bit?
Well, it seems like the organization is doing a better job. One thing I like is that they got Trey Young, but they didn't have to give up any of their young players. You want to keep your young players because it's going to take a while for them to be ready at the level that they can play. And usually when you draft a guy, I always tell people, when you draft a guy 18, 19 years old, it just takes some time for them to develop as a player. But the main thing is that I like is that they didn't have to give up that much for him, and they got a lot of cap space for the future. Yeah. Next year, he's on his last year, so depends on what they might do. But the one thing that I like, what they got going for them, is they got a lot of cap space. They can get some players if some players are interested in coming here playing for the Wizards.
How about the psychology of a young basketball player, AD? I mean, a lot of these young players, they've been losing a lot of basketball games in Washington. Not a lot of winning here over the last couple of years. Does that have any impact or effect on these young players as they grow in their NBA career?
Definitely. When you're a young player, thing about it is when you a great player, you're going to go to a weak team. So I always tell people that, hey, you got to be mentally tough to go out there, play every night, do your job, because when you start losing, I've seen when players get some bad habits, they just go out there and go through the motions. So it's your job, and it can be tough when you're losing games, but you still got to have that mental toughness to go out there and play great and do the right things on the basketball court.
You sure you don't want to suit up for the Wizards? They can maybe use some 15 and 10 from you.
No, I think I'll just 70 and older, yeah, I can play, but not with the young guys.
Adrien Dantley, Basketball Hall of Famer, appreciate your insight, my friend.
Take care.
All right, much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk. Stay with us. All right, our guest tonight on Toyota Sports Talk. I always appreciate David Aldridge back on the program. DA does a great job covering all things Washington sports, and obviously he knows his basketball and the NBA and the Wizards. And what better guest to talk about this Trey Young trade coming to DC. DA, what was your reaction, my friend?
Well, I mean, a little surprised, Scott. It was, it'd been reported, Mark Steiner reported it a few days ago that the Wizards were talking to him, and everybody's talking to everybody this time of year. But Trey wanted to get out of there. The Hawks wanted him out of there, and the Wizards were willing to do it. The question I wondered was, how much would they have to give up? Because they're just not giving up any of their picks. They're just not going to do it. And so if Atlanta insisted on a pick, the deal wouldn't get done. So I am a little surprised that Atlanta went ahead and did the deal and didn't get any picks back. But I knew the Wizards weren't going to give them any. So that's why I thought there was a chance the deal might not get done. But it did get done.
From a Wizards perspective, is this a short-term play, long-term play? How does Trey Young fit into the so-called future of this organization, DA?
Yeah, I think it's more likely that it's short term. I think, Scott. I mean, he's 27. You can make a case that he could play several years here with this young group as it grows. I think it's fair to say that this is going to be kind of like, I think he will opt in next year because it's $49 million. It's a lot of money. So I can't see him testing the free agent market. There will be some teams with cap room, but I'm not sure he's going to go to Brooklyn or one of those places. Maybe he will. I don't know, but I think it's more likely he stays here and sees if this can work. So assuming he's on the roster next year, it's a 1-year audition. Like he'll feel them out. They'll feel him out. If both sides think a longer term commitment is in the offering, I could see them potentially giving him like a 3-year offer extension. It won't be at anywhere near $49 million. It'll be a lot less per year than that. But requisite to his skill level and his ability. But I don't think it would go much longer than that, because I think the idea that the Wizards have is by the time their young group is ready to really contend at the top, Trey's going to be in his 30s and it's probably going to be playing somewhere else.
Trey Young as a basketball player, is he that superstar type player anymore, or like where is Trey Young in kind of the landscape of NBA basketball these days, Da?
Yeah, it's a fair question, Scott. I would say he's certainly the best player the Wizards have offensively going, it's not close. Like he just is. But is he top 15 anymore? Is he an all-star level player? Not right now. He hasn't been. He's been hurt, to be fair. He had a sprained MCL, and he's also got a quad injury that he's been playing through, and certainly isn't. Look, the Wizards are in no hurry for him to play. I doubt he will play for, I think it will be a very long time before you see Trey Young play for the Wizards this season, if it's this season at all. And that's partly so that he can get healthy, but it's partly asset management and and draft kit management. They got to keep their pick. They have a this is a really good draft, and they have to keep their first round pick. And they have to finish in the bottom 4 to keep their first round pick, to make sure they keep their first round pick. So I think, he'll have something to prove, but I don't think it'll really be till next season.
So that's some of the kind of pushback I've been getting on social media from Wizards fans is like, why would they make this pick? Excuse me, why would they make this trade for a Trey Young that could help improve the team and maybe, as you said, lose that draft pick?
Yeah, it's a fair question if he's going to play. So I don't know that he's going to play very much. I think you can look at what Toronto did last year. They traded for Brandon Ingram. It was around this time, maybe a week or two before or after, but around the same time. He didn't play a minute for Toronto. He didn't play a single second or in a single game for the Toronto Raptors last season. He was there for 2 or 3 months and didn't play a minute. Now he had a really badly sprained ankle. Those take time to heal. Yes, they do. Do they take 3 months to heal? I'll let you be the judge of that. Yeah. But I think you will see a very similar glide path for Trey Young the rest of this season.
But when looking at this Wizards team, they're playing better, Da, right?
They are. Yes. I mean, I think, and that's part of what concern is too strong a word. I'm curious to see how this works out, because this is the first time that we have really seen all of Washington's young players really level up at the same time. There have been instances where 1 or 2 of them on occasion played well for a couple of games, but you've seen several games now where Alex Sarr has played really well defensively, like really well, like elite level defensively at the rim. You've seen Trey Johnson come in and really start to show, what his capabilities are as a scorer and a shooter. Koulibaly is now healthy again. He's been, injured most of the first half of the season, but he's played the last 2 weeks and is really starting to play well. And they're all doing it at the same time. Will Riley's given him some really good minutes off the bench. So you throw into that, now that they finally have some positivity about them, you bring in a guy that just by his nature is going to be the show. He's going to be the centerpiece of it. And they all have to kind of play off of him now and defer to him. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. In fact, I think he can unlock a lot of their offensive stuff and make them a better team offensively. It's just a change from the way that they have kind of very carefully built this young group up to a point where now they actually are starting to have some good results.
To your last point, I want you to expand on that, Da. Let's say Trey Young does play a little bit and he's going to be integrating himself with these younger players on the court. How can he unlock them a little bit and unlock the offensive firepower, maybe the Wizards?
Well, number one, he's a ball dominant player, but he's a good ball dominant player in the sense that he creates opportunities for everyone, including himself. Now it's himself too, but he led the league in assists last year. He is not selfish. He's not going to hold. He doesn't pound the ball. He does pound the ball, but he will pass it. I'll put it that way. And he's an average double-figure assist the last 3 years. So I think he can make Alex Sarr take a big leap offensively. Big. Trey Young's the best lob passer in the NBA. Period. End of sentence. There's nobody better than him. He's the best guy in the league at doing that. And Clint Capella feasted with him playing lobs and rim runs and things like that. I think Alex will get similar paint touches, easy baskets, dunks, layups off of Trey's passes. He will create shots for Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson will be open with his feet set in the corner. That's what you want, because he's going to make that shot a lot. Keyshawn George has been their primary ball handler when he's been on the court. I think realistically, his best role is as a secondary ball handler. And what I mean by that is Trey Young draws the defense to him. He throws the ball to the opposite side of the floor. Now Keyshawn George catches the ball on the opposite side. He only has to beat one guy to get to the basket. Or it's a 2-on-1 on the other side, and he can just pass the ball to a teammate for an easy shot. That's great. That's a great outcome for the Wizards. So I think that's how Trey Young's gravity on the court can create so many opportunities for everybody else.
What about Bub Carrington? How does that impact him? Because he's usually the guy
Right.
handling the ball, right?
Fair question. Bub has, he hasn't been starting now while McCollum was here. He was coming off the bench. Look, I think I haven't watched Bub for the last 2 years. I think he's a rotation player and a good one. He's shooting like 43% on threes this year. I mean, a high volume.
Yep.
He's got a role on this team. I'm just not sure it's starting point guard on this team. I think it's part of a 3-guard rotation that, splits 90. Well, it split 100. I can't do the math. 130 minutes between 3-guard spots playing 48 minutes. He will play 30 to 35 of those minutes. It just won't be as the starter, but that's okay. He will play a lot. He'll play down the stretch sometimes, depending on matchups. But yeah, I don't know if he's a star. I don't think he's a starting point guard. I just don't think his passing skill is such that he can be a starting point guard in the NBA.
And it's certainly not the level of, say, a Trey Young, obviously, as you mentioned. So, David Aldridge, really appreciate your time, your perspective, your insight. Really helped breaking down this trade of Trey Young coming to the Washington Wizards. DA, appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Scott.
All right, much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk. Stay with us.